In some light, interesting news, I feel like I have to talk about this because it's so ridiculous. So, Britt Baker, she was an addition, let's say, to an article that I think was on AEW in the Washington Post. I'm not going to read it. I don't care. To be quite honest, a lot of the mainstream stuff for AEW is basically just them celebrating being a very distant number two. But in this article, Britt Baker said something that was very interesting. She talked about the WWE Performance Center and NXT. Here's what she said. I don't think putting a bunch of models and athletes off the street in a warehouse and teaching them all to do the same thing the same way at the same time is going to create a successful roster. People learn differently and they have different strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes you have to find out what those are on your own. She must have never seen a classroom. She must have never heard of any type of training facility anywhere. To be quite honest, this running theme that we're getting out of AEW, this is almost the exact same comment Tony Khan made not too long ago. I think I did a video on that too. But it's Britt Baker, which makes it even funnier, and we'll get to why in a second. But for anybody who thinks that what WWE is doing is wrong, ask yourself, why do you send your kids to a classroom? They all going to learn ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s the exact same way at the exact same time. Just like you say it's bad. So what ends up happening? In the end, some kids are better than others. Some kids put their own spin on it. They learn a different way. They learn at different speeds. So some kids end up in advanced placement courses. Some people end up in remedial courses. Some kids get it and they stick through and they go to college. Some kids don't. They fall out and they don't make it too far. Every system is exactly the same. It's the basics for everybody are the same. And then once you're done with the basics, you start putting your own flourish on things, your own ring psychology, your own move set, different things that depending on the character that you're going to be portraying with different times. Of course, working around your own limitations. Not everybody can jump to the same height. Not everybody can run to the same speed. Not everybody has the same kind of drop kick or clothesline. Everybody's going to do something different. So that's where you're going to get your strengths and weaknesses after you learn the basics. So that is not the dig that a lot of the AEW people seem to think it is. Especially since a lot of these people have been in schools. A school is literally a training center where everybody learns ABCs and 1, 2, 3s almost the exact same way. Or, to be quite honest, all schools are not the same. Let me put that, be a little bit more honest. But you still have 20 to 30 kids in a classroom, right? So even if every child in the city of Detroit doesn't learn the exact same way, you have 30 children from the city of Detroit all learning the exact same way in one classroom at one time. So what she's saying makes no sense. But here is the reason, another reason why what she's saying is baffling to me. Because who has spent more time injured in wrestling due to the incompetence of her opponents than Britt Baker? Since 2019, how many injuries has Britt Baker suffered? She's had black eyes. She's had a broken nose. She's had concussions. She's had a torn ACL. She broke a wrist. How many injuries did she suffer because her opponents were poorly trained? So somebody creating a system where these things are rarer than more common. Again, AEW's only been around for 2 years. In 2 years, Britt Baker has been in a cast, a face mask, and a wheelchair. And you can't say that for people in WWE. Now, some of them are botch machines for sure. They don't look very good. Very often people are green. They're still learning. It might not be exactly the most polished type of stuff. But they ain't out there killing themselves or killing each other. Not to the degree that they are in AEW. I mean, there's an entire account dedicated to and I'm not just saying, oh, well, because it's AEW botches. Of course, he's singling out AEW. But how many of those botches are specifically Britt Baker matches? It's almost like somebody put a hit out on Britt Baker. How every time she gets in the ring with somebody, she's this close to being injured. Bianca Belair hasn't been injured yet. Has Charlotte spent any time significantly injured? Not really. Has Sasha Banks spent a significant amount of time injured? Not really. Alexa Bliss had concussion issues, so that's one. Bailey is currently injured, but she got injured in training, so that's two. Those will be the only two major women's wrestlers in WWE that spent a significant amount of time hurt. Well, Asuka is currently hurt, so I guess three. That would be it. And neither one of them suffered an injury to the same extent that Britt Baker did. Well, I guess maybe Alexa Bliss with the concussions, the repeated concussions, because they took her out of the ring for a while. Britt Baker is the most injured wrestler in the business currently, and it's due mostly to the incompetence of her opponents. And she has the audacity to diss a training center. Instead, if you're going to big up AEW for something, please find something else. Trying to create a safe environment for people to learn the business is not the thing that you want to downplay, or not the angle you want to take. That's not what you want to do. It doesn't make any sense. And then if your critique of the system is going to be that it's a warehouse where everybody learns everything the same way, it's like, yeah, but when they come out of that, not everybody approaches the business the exact same way. So it's silly. It's stupid. It doesn't make you look good, doesn't make you sound good. So it's pointless. Please stop doing this. Stop letting these people put the battery in your back. Britt Baker is actually good. But to say that people need to find out your strengths and weaknesses on your own, sure. But they shouldn't have to go out there and break other people's bones and bust other people's faces in order to learn their own strengths and weaknesses. There should be a safer environment for that. And if NXT is that safer environment, then what the hell is the problem? Boy.